Hey folks, the purpose of this video is to give you some ideas on how to set up your Mystery Ranch Metcalf backpack. There's a lot of other videos out there which go through the features and benefits and help you make the purchase decision. I'm not going to get into that. Mostly it's for those who've already bought it, or maybe you narrowed it down to a couple of models and brands and you're trying to decide if this is the right one for you. So I did this setup for a September archery elk hunt. I was not backpacking in to stay in the woods. I was staying at a B&B in a small town nearby. So basically it was set up for day trips. So let's get started. So the first thing is, let's talk about personal safety, self-defense. I ended up setting up everything in that regard on the right side, on the right hip. I looked at several different locations for handgun mounting. I even did cross draw, but what I found is that on the cross draw, the butt end of the gun stood out a little bit from the waist. So I knew hiking through the woods, blowdowns, branches, bushes, it was going to get caught. So I ended up coming over to the right side. The other thing is I really wanted my bear spray to be my first line of defense because we're in grizzly country. I tried with the handgun in the back position, but what I found with my physique and setup, it was too awkward for me to reach back and get my hand on the handle of that firearm. So I ended up moving it forward. Even though this holster is made with a MOLLE attachment setup, and you can pivot it, so it can be straight, it can be canted backwards, forwards. I found for me, straight up and down works best. Simply go in, this one is a push button release, comes right out and you're ready to go. Having the bear spray, even though I'm going to go for spray first, having it back here worked out pretty well because I can get either my index finger or middle finger and right into the loop and pull this bear spray out very, very easily. The other thing I have set up here is my knife. Word of caution, I lost one knife during the trip. I had it set up here on the MOLLE, but what happened, you can see it moves quite freely because it cannot get into two straps. It only hooked on one. So probably when I took the pack off for breakfast, put it down, the base of this knife hit a branch or a rock, popped it off, and I never saw it and lost it. So just keep that in mind. If you don't have a good firm setup here for the knife, maybe it's better off somewhere up high on the pack. Second thing I'll mention is the Mystery Ranch supplies tethers, so Velcro tethers on a lot of their straps, but some they don't. So first of all, and I can't see one because they're all behind me, where it was missing, I bought Velcro and I sewed them on and put my own tethers here so I could get the bitter ends of the webbing a little more under control so they're not flopping around and flying in the wind. For the ones that Mystery Ranch did provide, just note that they don't sew the Velcro in place. So it's possible if you untether it, you could lose that piece of Velcro. So what I did when I got back is I unfurled them all, I sewed them in place so they can't be lost. But you can see it's helpful because it keeps that bitter end nice and neat. All right, let's go over to the left side. So first thing I did was put my rangefinder here in the left, first slot, easy to get at. Some guys will find they might want it up here, but I'm not a big guy. I don't have a long torso or a barrel chest. So what I found is if I had accessories on the side of my bino pack, they might start to get in the way and get in the way of my movement, especially with a compound bow. So I put the rangefinder here. You can buy attachments for sure, customized for that. I just repurposed it. So this particular rangefinder, I used the existing container it came in, and what I did is I took a piece of fabric webbing and I sewed it on the top, ran it through the bottom, and then I also had a kit. This is a little hard to get off, so I'll just show you here. You can see I put a button, stainless button on the bottom, and then the other end of the fabric strap that I put on. So I had a little kit that I can use and do that. So then you can weave it in to the MOLLE, snap it in place, and you're good to go. And you can still use it on a belt loop if you wanted to. Next thing is this pouch, a MOLLE pouch. I looked at a couple of different models, some of which had multiple dividers inside. What I found is with the dividers, they just took up too much space. So generally for this, I was using A tiny pocket inside for my mouth calls. They fit perfectly. Had my cell phone in there. If I need to get it that quickly, it's easy access. And I might have the wind indicator, which is on my bino harness now. Maybe that's in there, or another larger mouth call, the external style mouth calls. But at any rate, one good pouch served me pretty well. Next, the bino harness, pretty straightforward. Like I said, if you have one that's modular, that could work for you. For me, it was a little bit too much, so I just kept it to a slimline bino harness, pretty simple. Side pockets I could use for small items if I needed to. For water, it's got the pouch in the back, inside the pack, which holds your water bladder, and then this one, very easy. I put it on my left side, but you can put it on either side, and it's got a nice little tether here for you to hold the tube in place. One note is I repurposed a bladder from another backpack, and first day in the field, hadn't even thought about it. This was all clear tubing. So I'm in full camo, nice and camouflaged, and the tubing is bright, clear, and it's shining in the sun. So I took a Sharpie and I put some black marker on it, and when I got home, I just put some camo tape over the top of it to mute the color of it. All right, so that's it for easy access, left and right hip, bino harness. Now let's take a look at how I carried the bow. So 3 different setups that I saw. Long distance, meaning hiking in the dark, hiking out in the dark. It went on my back. That's pretty straightforward. There's plenty of attachments, and the pack already comes with snaps. You can secure your bow. But the other 2 phases of hunting I wanted is easier access. Of course, you're going to carry it if you're in final stalk mode. That goes without saying. But I also wanted to have it where if I'm still in active hunting mode and I don't want it on my back, which it's difficult to get it off your back, you got to take the pack off if you don't have a buddy nearby. So I wanted something where the bow could be readily at hand. So I'll show you how I set that up. So this is how I set the bow up for hunt mode, let's call it, where I could have it readily at hand, very quickly and quietly, take it off the clips and be ready to shoot with it. So Mystery Ranch supplies a couple of extra webbing and clips. And that's for the purpose of having extra heavy loads, bundling things together on the pack. You need to carry meat out and so on. So I repurposed them, and I took 2 straps, and you can see up here, clipped it in to the top of the frame. And then if you look at this back strap, you can see I also have it clipped in also to part of the frame. Reason for doing that is it's not on your shoulder, actually no weight in your shoulder. It can't fall off because it's locked in, and all the weight goes on the pack itself. But you still have the bow readily at hand. You can see I can swing it out, keep my hand on it if I wanted to, but I can walk, I can glass, have my hands free, and not worry about the bow. So my final customization of this was using their straps, clips, and then I bought these Night Eyes S-beaners. So they're simple carabiners, double-sided. I put a little bit of black hockey tape on one, or actually both ends of them, just to quiet it down even more. So when it's clipped into the bow, it doesn't make any noise. I did that on both sides. So again, if you sight an animal, you can quietly take this off, and you're ready to go. And these don't get in the way. And that's the other thing. If you have a carry strap, which has its purposes, but then now you get the carry strap. You got to stash that somewhere. If you're by yourself, you got to find a way to get it back in your backpack so you don't leave it on the ground somewhere. So these clips are really handy. All right, lastly, let's take a look at 1 or 2 things inside the bag. For my day trips, I did not use the canopy because I just didn't need the space, and we didn't have bad weather. So if it was going to rain, I would put this on for a little bit of extra water protection, but I did not need it. So I simply cinched the bag up tight, and it was perfectly fine. So just a couple of things to note on the inside. First, the Zoe bag that Mystery Ranch makes to fit the Metcalf, I think that's well worth it. So if we open the side pouch and take that tether away, the Zoid bag just flips right out. Easy to spot even in the dark with the reflective and orange tabs, so you can take it on and off completely. I use this for my kill kit. In hindsight, I probably should have used it for something like the meal kits that I was going to get into once or twice a day, or even first aid kit. But nonetheless, think about how you want to set it up. For me, with the kill kit, since you're only getting into it, hopefully, once per trip, I could have had that in a bag and had it at the bottom of the pack. But anyway, Zoid bags, I think were well worth it. The other thing that I did is I repurposed, because I like repurposing things, is small bags like this. So these are from airlines. So if you happen to fly business class, usually get an amenity kit, especially if it's on long haul trips. And I've been hoarding these things for years. I had my wife do the same thing. This was perfect for, as an example, for a first aid kit. I had another one for a kill kit, another one for an emergency kit. But what I would do is I wouldn't use all the same types. So I had one like this. Now this is a little shiny, but it doesn't matter because it's inside the bag. So this might have had extra batteries, forks, knives, whatever. But the benefit of using different makes and models of these things is I can just reach in and I don't even have to see. So especially if it's in the dark, low light conditions, or I want to keep my eyes on something else, I can reach in, feel, and I know that I'm going to pull out my first aid kit or any particular kit that I wanted. And then of course the stuff that I didn't use very often, like my game bags, are buried at the bottom of the bag. So that's it. I hope you found this helpful, gave you some ideas on how to customize things. And sure, you can spend a lot of money on accessories, custom accessories, or you can repurpose a bunch of stuff that you've already got in your inventory at home. So thanks, good luck.